just let me ask. The first one is Cooperation, Progress and Prosperity by Rohit Gupta and Vikas Kumar Sinha. You are there. So you will be the first presenter. Then Climate Change and Sustainability in Industries by Dr. G.R. Andhorikar and Mr. B. Basu. Not here right now. Third is Motivating Resilient Communities Towards Sustainable Livelihood by Dr. Parth. This is also not here right now. The Nexus Between Climate Risk and Farms Value, Dr. Amitabh Mondal, is also not here right now. Then Building Resilience and Achieving Sustainable Development Goals in India, Dr. S.C. Roy.
Yes.
So you are the one. Thank you, sir. Then Wetland Degradation and Livelihood Challenges of Fishermen Community by Pratyush Bharadwaj. Is it there? No. But then in virtual mode, let's see. Then Status of Labour Migration in the Brick Kiln Sector of Bihar.
Yes.
So you are the one. Nayan Ranjan Kumar.
Yes.
And then Sustainable Food Production Policies in India, Divya Anand. So you're there. So yeah, your good name? Rohit?
Vikas Kumar Sinha.
Yeah, and
Gupta is not there.
not there. So you're the one who is presenting. So welcome to this particular technical session. We'll be keeping time. Around 10 minutes is the time we are actually allotting, and then maybe 2-3 minutes additional for question and answer or say any suggestions, feedback that is there for the experts as well as for other presenters. So that is how it is. Okay. Please.
I'm presently working with the Indian Railways, and this is my one of the academic activities on which I have written down or designed some of the research paper. This is one of the research paper, and that is the subject is Cooperation, Progress and Prosperity, and that is on the cooperative policy of India and a cooperative approach to development with the inclusiveness in India. So this is my topic, and I will discuss some of the slides. There is 20 slides, but I will not discuss on all the slides. I will discuss on some certain slides that is important for the discussion. And the first slide is the nurturing cooperative, nurturing community. Means if we nurture cooperative, then we will nurture the community. That is that community that is very poor and marginalized farmer and marginalized population of India. So then if nurturing cooperative, then we will nurturing the community. This is one of the gist or soul of my topic. The cooperative in India as an organic and elemental institutions adopting the principle of unit. Unit means uniformity, neutrality, integrity and transparency. In the cooperative organization or institutions, there are 4 pillars that is called uniformity. Means all the populations, all the members of the cooperative is uniform. And neutrality, there is no any partiality within the organization. Integrity means they have a integration in the work or in the mind or in the thoughts. And the transparency, all the works and the functionalities or operations, they are transparent in the cooperative organizations. Cooperative policy of India has been envisioned to the concept of inclusiveness. Inclusiveness means we have to include all the peoples, whether it is from the poor society or the marginalized society. There is no any difference between the peoples. Sustainability and economic prosperity in the country. Ministry of Cooperation, that is established in the year of 2021, has a focal point to revitalize cooperative movement in India with an objective to reform administrative and legal framework for the sector efficacy and to strengthen cooperative ecosystem. MOC actually established with a vision to strengthen the cooperative ecosystem in India. Because cooperative system, I think this is the institutions that is on the driving seat for the economic development. Methodology and the research intent is whatever the research intent of mine. Paper based on the derived secondary data, and I have taken the secondary data and derived that secondary data in another form, and collected through the various sources, references, journals, newspapers, research paper, book, website, personal experiences. Personal experiences means I actually work with one of the organized that is work in the agriculture sector in Gaya. And there is one FPO that is the commercial FPO, and another FPO that is the cooperative FPO. So then I am putting some of the experiences in my research paper. And on research paper, some of the research paper that is based on the agriculture and other subject. So I have taken some of the part from the previous research paper. That enable us the fact of what difference has come after the policy intervention. That policy intervention first actually put in the force in the year 1904. And how much has the local community benefited in India and what extent it would effectively create a robust cooperative ecosystem across sector and country. The paper ends with analyzing the measurable impact of the policy on outcome variables and conclusion. That is described in the next slide. There is some of the variables actually I measured the cooperative ecosystem whether benefited in India for the population, for the people and for the marginal farmer or not. So first is the cooperative footprint in the heartland of the India. What the cooperative footprint in the different part of the countries. Credit flow through the cooperative platform means cooperative bank actually provide the loans and advances to the poor farmers. Potential tool to create employment or work. How many employment or job creations through the cooperative ecosystem. Cooperative intervention and yield. And I have taken the example of dairy cooperatives. Cooperative intervention and income of members, and what about the income? One of the research paper that is published by the University of Rajasthan, and I have taken that secondary data from that one. And what about the income increased? What about the income is in difference? Next. Significance of national cooperative structure and ecosystem. Cooperative instrumental is tackling the problems of poverty elevation, food security and employment generation. Cooperative brings in cohesiveness, community business sense and enhanced social bonding through collective effort and interest. Cooperative as institutions have capability to ensure equitable and concerted effort towards enhancing the flow of timely, adequate and doorstep support to various critical infrastructure, input services, irrigations, marketing, processing and community storage. And this is one of the world lines. At a total of around 11 to 12 crore direct and indirect employments are to be created in cooperative sector by the year 2030. This is a cooperative ecosystem in India. How many cooperative institutions in India? That is the number. Cooperative societies, all India cooperative, about 8,42,379. Total sectors is 30. Primary cooperative is 8,38,000. Functional cooperative is 6 lakhs, about 6.5 lakhs. Dormant cooperative is about 1.5 lakhs. And under liquidation, the number of cooperatives is 45,000. Federations, how many federations in India? National 20, state 234, district 548, block 359, regional 53. Cooperative banks is there, SCRDB 14, PCARDB 526, state cooperative 32, DCCB 338. Multi-state cooperative societies, the number is 1758. The total number of the cooperative societies in India are about 8 lakhs, and across these numbers, there is 290 million plus members associated with the cooperatives. Next. The challenges and constraint. So if there is institution, then there is challenges and there is opportunities also. The challenges and constraint is social and regional issues, regional and sectoral imbalances, lack of collaboration, cooperation within the cooperatives, administrative, structural and regulatory issues, regulatory complexities. There is some difference in between the central and the state, and so there is a disparity in the policies of the state policies and the central policies. So there is one meeting that is recently held in the Banaras yesterday, and that is called the cooperative federalism, and that will ease the policies disparities. Managerial and technical issues, governance, leadership and operational issues, lack of the professional and proficient management, that is all very frequently seen in the cooperative societies, and missed opportunities in the emerging sector. Actually, PACs and the other cooperative banks and having lots of opportunities to do diversify their work and functions, operations, and there is so many sectors like renewable energies. Then cooperative may be work in the renewable energy also. The policy in the governance, a silver line in the dark. Actually, if government support any operations or any institution, then it will work a lots of good things. So I have heading this line, a silver line in the dark. After coming under the administrative and legal cover, the cooperative society started functioning as a systematic institution after the first cooperative act was implemented in 1904. Since then, several administrative, management and structural reforms in the cooperative societies have been carried out by the government from time to time by enacting various legislations. Government of India has taken the initiative of setting up the ministry. It is already discussed, and but the theme or the soul of that MOC is Sahkar se Samriddhi. And so many institutions are supporting all these movement. NABARD, NCDC, NAFED, NFDB, NDDB, CRIPCO, IPCO and other national federations nurturing cooperative movement in India. Ministry of Corporations has taken several grassroots initiatives at the governance level to redesign the cooperative as a strong and ideal tool to uplift the marginalized people economically and socially. The policy and governance making primary, I have already discussed the fact. After the formation of the Ministry of Cooperation, Government of India formulated or decided a model by us to transform PACs as a super deliverance system. Super deliverance system means PAC is now will work as a center for excellence and gas distribution, kerosene distribution, petroleum distribution, like this in this work. Then PAC has a multi-level roles in the future. And government has formulated and designed some of the formulas for it. Strengthening the urban and rural cooperative banks, MOC has identified cooperative banks as a silver line in a dark cloth to reach out marginalized or local population and to increase credit flow through cooperative channels. Initiatives are taken to make cooperative banks more stronger and visible. Relief of cooperative society in the income tax norms. Some of the income tax norms are eased for the cooperative society. Use of information technology, capacity building in the cooperative training.
Please conclude in 2 more minutes.
Yes. Cooperative footprint in the changes, micro lending and cooperative. If you see, in the year 2020, the loan disbursed in the agriculture sector by the cooperative banks normally increased from 11.3% to 12.8%. This shows the cooperative banks having a big role in the agriculture loans. Agri-credit mobilization and cooperative, and I have just grouping all this in the regions. In the southern regions, average number of members, then average target and average disbursement. So average number of the members is more in the southern region, and in the northeast region there is a very few numbers or very less number. And if you see, then there is a large chunk of the agriculture loan goes to southern region because of there is a large number of the cooperative and large number of the cooperative members rather than the northeast region. And so it will show that there is a direct relations in between the members and the cooperative number of the members and the number of cooperative societies and the loan disbursement. Cooperative footprints in the heartland of India region-wise. Also, southern regions having a large number of cooperative societies and large number of the members. This is in the average. Like Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and all. Actually, I grouping it in the regions. And again, you see that northeast region is having a very few cooperative societies and few cooperative societies members. Next. Sustainable employment, inclusivity and cooperative prominence. If you see that in the year 2007-8, there is a few number of direct employment and self-employment is more than that. And by the 2030 or 31, it will increase up to 60. Direct employment and self-employment is about like this 11 to 12 crores job is created by the year 2030 in the cooperative sector.
Please come to the conclusion part.
Sustainable employment, inclusivity and cooperative prominence. This is milk production, cooperative milk production. Next. And then, no, last.
No, back, go back.
Back side.
Slide number 15. Yeah.
Average comparison of average annual income of the cooperative members and non-cooperative members. This is one of the distinct part of the cooperative, non-cooperative member and non-cooperative members. If you see that the cooperative members having a larger income size and rather than the non-cooperative income, there is almost 20% difference in the income level. And this is the cooperative services on the milk production. Before, there is 5 liters per day. If veterinary service is available through the cooperative, better feed, training and best practices through the cooperative societies, then there is a difference. If a member taken the cooperative service, the milk production increased or enhanced to 5.8 liter, means 0.8 liter per day enhanced or increased. If then better feed 5.5 from 4.8 to 5.5 and 5.2 liters to 6 liters. This is the impact of the cooperative services on a unit economy, on a unit people. Suggestion of the state, there is some suggestion. Resource cooperative, grain storage in the cooperative sector is one of the best to reduce this wastage. About 1.5 lakh crore rupees actually vast out due to lack of the storage capacity. So then we can save 1.5 lakh crore and setting up the storage cooperatives at the village or block level. Focus to be on the value-added product and emerging sector. Cooperative have potential to diversify their activities and create new revenue stream for ensuring long-term sustainability in the field of renewable energy, digital service and e-commerce. Need to diversify portfolios and focus to be setting up women cooperatives. There is inequality in the cooperative intervention in different states like northeast and southern region. There is a large chunk of the disparity. Then it should be reduced. Promotion of training, enhancement of training capacity by expanding the scope of the cooperative. The inequality in credit flow may reflect either the lack of the awareness among the local people or absence of the proper plans and strategy in the some states or union territories. Hence, the government policy needs to be propagated at the grassroots level. So there is a need of the uniform policies between the states and the central. Conclusion: India's cooperative sector have a potential and position as a key driver of sustainable economic growth, social and cultural equity and inclusive development. This sector has significant potential for job creation, estimated up to 5.5 crore direct job and 5.6 crore self-employment opportunities by financial year 2031. Not only does this sector seem to be creating job, but it is also generating ample opportunity for every stakeholder in the societies. After the formation of the Ministry of Cooperation, there is a possibility of more changes in the cooperative sector. Organizations like PACs have been given more autonomy so that the financial health of its member and PACs can improve gradually. Government has a focused mission to transform cooperative structure technologically and professionally in the line of any private corporation. Some of the references, if you click this one. There is references and sources.
It is entirely on the secondary data.
Yes, sir. Almost.
Yeah, it's a very interesting paper. I must congratulate you. You fought your academic interest at this time, and of course you have considered a very nice thing, connecting cooperation, progress, and prosperity. I would like to, I think I am audible, right? Yeah, it's fine. So, what I'm going to say exactly, see, since it is based on very secondary data, you could have done some kind of analysis using some statistical tools. So, that is one thing is missing in your paper. That is one suggestion. Number two is you have suggested somewhere there is a need to promote women cooperatives. So when you are suggesting this type of statement without considering the gender-wise classification in the data, it creates some kind of problems. So what I am going to request you is just try to kind of avoid this type of statement in the policy suggestion when you are not really considering the gender-wise classification. And of course there are other factors like age, socio-economic classification you could have considered, since there are a lot of secondary data which is available and across all the regions, and of course you have done a very nice kind of picture basically on southern, western, and you have also classified that a lot of things is going on in northeast versus southern region. So some interesting stories could have come up if you have done some kind of statistical analysis, and of course gender wise classification or age wise classification, role of you call this like cooperative societies, to create awareness among the dairy farmers and all that. So that could have been very interesting, but it's a nice attempt.
Sir, one thing, cooperative, actually women's cooperative, why I just to put the suggestion like as like, because self-help group is performing very well in Bihar, and self-help group is actually women oriented, and women oriented means whenever they take the loans, and the bank can recover the loans by 99%, almost 99%, and so I think the self-help group and then women's cooperative. And so this is my one of the suggestion.
Yeah, I understood, but the thing is the data is missing. That is what I'm saying.
Data is missing.
When we come to a conclusion, so it should be based on certain either secondary study which you have done or say some data, because personal feelings, understandings and experiences, that is especially in research we try to avoid it to the best possible manner. Okay, that is of course is going to guide us. My personal experience will be guiding me. So a kind of bias will be coming in, but then as far as research is concerned, just like a judge, we try to be most neutral as possible.
Yes.
So that is all. There were certain points in the slides, but then he has removed, I think, so the slides, because for certain data I wanted to get it clarified. But you have used all the secondary data from reliable sources. You have shown it, so I understand that.
Some of the papers he considered.
Some of the papers that he considered.
I think some source is available, not official data is available.
Actually, I am just in the lack of the data, sir. And
so from Indian Railways, how do you get some
75
time?
days.
From Indian Railways, how do you get this time to study about the SDGs and other things?
Sir, because this is my interest, and I am the alumni of CIMP 2010 base, sir. And this is my some of the emotional attachment with the CIMP. And because of that, I always connected with the academic activities. And I have already written down almost 6 to 7 research papers. 2 and 3 papers are in the best categories.
So yeah,
So
but
this
this
is my
one you
interest.
this one you need to develop more quite focused one, and then if you can get some primary data, that will be fine. And I'm quite happy that you say that 99% of recovery is there with women SHGs, because as I used to, before joining CIMP, I was there at IIM Indore, and before IIM Indore I was working in Patna as an officer in Rural Development Department, and I have disbursed lakhs and lakhs, perhaps crores of loans to SHGs. And that time we used to think that we will never be able to recover these loans. But if they are performing well, the women to whom I have disbursed loans, if they are performing well, then I am a happy person.
This is 90%, 99%. This is data actually.
Because sometimes, you feel that you are just disbursing loan. I do not know. You are not in touch with all the women groups. You are in secondary mode, and then you do those things. If they are performing well, we are happy that we have done a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next one is, no, I think because perhaps if they are somewhere else, we are not so sure. I'll have to talk to Dr. Samantha.
Good morning, everyone. Myself,
Again the
Professor S.C. Roy.
Same process, around 10 minutes.
I am Professor of Law in Chandragupt National Law University, Patna, Dean Research and Development also. The motivation towards writing a paper and presentation here I got from Professor Samantha ji, and it is related to Sustainable Development Goal. Since I have been teaching law and justice in globalized world, and therefore my focus is on the theme related to Sustainable Development Goal, how to achieve, as the title itself is Building Resilience and Achieving Sustainable Development Goals in India, a discourse with reference to the philosophy of John Rawls, Amartya Sen and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. As we know very well that nowadays everybody worships Baba Sahib, but whether that worship is real worship, I think that I may be wrong, but I think that it is for politically motivated. But I worship, personally I am saying that I worship Baba Sahib Ambedkar because of his pragmatistic philosophy that he has given to this world. Although he has been influenced by John Dewey of the Columbia University, the great philosopher of pragmatic philosophy, but it is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar who brought pragmatism in India and incorporated in our constitution, and this is why our constitution is the best constitution in the world. Great structure has been given by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Before that, now I am coming to the point that resilience, Atmanirbhar Bharat, a slogan has been given by our Prime Minister by the NDA government in 2022, and crores of rupees has been invested in this area. And in this regards, Make in India, Made in India, Startup India, Stand Up India, so many things are there. But whether this is only Atmanirbhar or resilience, or that it is something different, it is another meaning is that indirectly we are saying that it is to contribute in the world economy. Yes, I have to be resilient, I have to stand up, start up, but at the same time we are going to contribute in the world economy, world development. And this is why, how to do that? Unless and until we have a equality, unless and until we have a distribution of resources, unless and until we have a justice, how to achieve that goal of sustainable development framed by the United Nations by 2030 we have to achieve. Can we do that? So this is the basic points that I have thought over for your corrections, please. So see here that John Rawls, the great theorist of Harvard, and he said that justice as fairness. And he has made 2 points are very, very remarkable, although he has given so many philosophies, but I have picked up 2 points. One is that the institutions should be very important one, that make the institutions rational one, intelligent people one, honest one, ethical one. Secondly, that veil of ignorance. This is the great philosophy, veil of ignorance, that if I am here, I am a professor of this institution, then I am professor only. I do not belong to any caste, creed, color, anything, community. So think about that our parliamentarian, when they enter into the parliament, they say Jai Sri Ram. They say some on slogan, different slogans. What is this? John Rawls says that if we want to develop the country or any nations and make justice, then we have to be neutral. The moment I am the parliamentarian, I am none else. I am of everyone. I do not belong to any caste, creed, color, religion. So, veil of ignorance. And when I am doing this, then I will feel for everyone. I will feel for the development of the people, for the economic development, social development, cultural development, human development. So, this is his best theory, and whether we are accepting, whether we are in practice, this is a question mark. Second theory is related to Amartya Sen, that he talks about the capability theory, that yes, we are donating so many people. Nowadays, previous policies are there. Every government, every political party is rendering previous 2,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 600 rupees. What is this? Whether we are building capability or making them people easy one. If you see that, if you go to the village, you will not find the labor or the workers. Even on 500 rupees per day, you will not find. What is the reason behind that? That they are getting previous. They are now lazy. This is why the waste of the fund. So capability, although the government of India has started so many in new education policy, Skill India, skill development is essential, internship programs, so many things are there, but whether we are rendering actually what is happening. I have some informations from the grassroots level that nobody can, you cannot fail anyone. The teacher does not fail or pass anyone. The teacher teaches and then he evaluates whether the answer is right or wrong, whether the answer is standard or not. But if whatever the student writes and if I mark them, there is no evaluation and there will be no human development. There will be no critical thinking development. Then where is the development? Whether degree is development that we are rendering in this society. So therefore new education policy focuses on the critical development, critical mind, mental development, thinking development, ability development, creativity development. But where is happening? This is a question mark. And now I am coming to Baba Saheb Ambedkar's philosophy of pragmatism. Baba Saheb Ambedkar's philosophy of pragmatism is practical one. He says that eradication of poverty, yes of course, but how? Through skill development. Improvement of the villages, smart cities, we have a plan. Why not we have a plan of smart villages? However, nowadays in Bihar and some other states, we are finding that the villages are improving through Narega, Manrega and other things. But still, pouring of the funds, where it is going, who is engulfing, who is looting, that is a subject matter of concern. And therefore, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, that has given a lot of philosophy related to. And he says that caste is the most important barrier in the way towards the development. Casteism is total. Everywhere, political parties bringing or calling rally and rala, they are saying the word. And nowadays, caste-based, census. Yes, of course, you can have a caste-based census, but why not you employ that every 10 years there must be reservation, combing or assessment that how many people have got benefit of the reservation, how many people are left behind, what should be the scheme, what should be the mechanism. Unless and until we do, we cannot help the categories, people who are on the margin. We have to do that. This is why Baba Sahib Ambedkar says annihilation of the caste, destroy the caste, because this is a great barrier. And I think that we have improved much. We are gathering here just right now. Who belongs to which caste? God knows. God knows. And it is, we are academicians, only one caste. We are academicians, and therefore the casteism is a looting or eating into the vitals of our society. Can we achieve the sustainable development goal? Whether we understand the policy of sustainable development goal, either related to environment, either related to agriculture, either related to the academics, either related to the farm sectors, every area, as right now my friend said about the cooperatives, everywhere, what we are doing, either different laws are there. So we have to think over the sustainable development goal, that we can use it and we cannot compromise for the coming generation. We have to leave something for them also. Therefore, that I would like to submit before these August intellectuals that the policies of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, the pragmatic policy, that whatever the resources you have, you pick up the issues and resolve that. Make a policy, how to resolve that, how to bring it a developed country by 2047. That should be that is the target, and we have less time, but we have a lot of problems. Therefore, we have to think over that where is the wrong, whether our parliamentarians are free, whether they are in the veil of ignorance, whether they think that I am for all and all are for me, whether we have taken up the policy of capability theory of Dr. Amartya Sen, whether we are following Baba Sahib Ambedkar. We have to think over these issues, these questions. Thank you.
So again, it's quite a conceptual kind of study.
Yeah.
Or say any paper you have published, or say you are in the process of publishing this as a paper.
This paper, sir, I have written so many papers.
Yeah, but this particular work.
This will be published. I will revise it from your feedback, and then I will improve, and then I will publish.
In law, okay, in law area I am not so much aware. So what kind of, do you have this empirical kind of research papers, you collect data from field, do you use that, or more of conceptual?
That I am thinking, because this is a conceptual one.
Yeah.
And since I in the beginning I told you that I am a teacher, I have been teaching. So my thought that I have developed and how to bring it into action, and that really your feedback that I will try my best to have an empirical data.
No, yeah, but you know it better, because how much of because in say in economics area, most of the faculty, they do not get so much of, they might be getting some of the empirical work, but then they are using case studies is not that easy, because for that they will have to take a larger time scale. I am into finance area, so we use lots of case studies in our classes. But a faculty of economics will not be able to use case studies, because to develop a case study, they will have to look for thorough time spent. In the same way as he was talking about cooperative, that was one of my understanding, that even if you want to understand the impact of cooperatives on the wellness of people, or say in their income generation and others, so you'll have to take a large time span, because in a short time
I will take time and I will improve it. Certainly.
Because these three philosophies, what I could get from your paper is that unless we work on our basics, the very thought of achieving SDG goals is not so easy. Because our foundations, our basics should be strong, and perhaps these three philosophies, and these philosophers, or say intellectuals, the names that you have put in, so their philosophy we should try to imbibe as a country, and then perhaps then we can think of realizing the goals of
achieving sustainable development or 2047
47
developed country. This is my submission.
Professor Sinha.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I must congratulate you to have this three
Samantha.
particular philosophy of Rawls, Ambedkar and Sen. Basically, they're like they're having different type of views on the basis of SDGs and all that. But having saying that, what I'm going to suggest you is basically when you consider the Ambedkar views and all that, Ambedkar also said that effective dialogues are necessary, that you already pointed out. So effective dialogues between all the stakeholders, like it's not about only government departments. That means the government must reach also to the villagers, the all the block levels, the panchayat levels, and of course all those people who are working as an activist or maybe the NGOs and all that. Then some kind of conclusion can come up with the SDGs, whether SDGs is really working or not. So that's the one vibrant thing you have to do, with the effective dialogue between all the stakeholders. Now, regarding the Amartya Sen views, right, you need to think about a capability deprivation index. When you are saying that the capability theory, Amartya Sen also said that it is important to say how many people are deprived of this particular development goals.
Yes.
So unless until you think about a capability deprivation index, your logic of saying that whether SDGs have achieved or not is again
That's why I submitted that that we are getting census. Why not every 10 years reservation policy has to be assessed?
That is what
So,
I said. That
why not we are doing that? We are not doing that because of political gain, political mileage.
That is
so this is why in this situation, can we achieve sustainable development goal by 2030 or 2047? It is far away from our reach.
Yeah, I understood, but what I'm saying that these things has to be added in the papers, like kind of FGD, focus group discussion with all the stakeholders. You can do that.
Yes.
And along with that, you can also collect some information regarding how many people, how many population are deprived of not getting the proper access to water, sanitation, drinking. These are all SDG goals, right?
Yes.
Proper road facilities, education, healthcare facilities. These are all part of the broader SDG goals. So unless until we think about gender, access to water, sanitation, drinking facilities, so it is essential to have a kind of FGDs with all the stakeholders. Then you come up with Ambedkar idea is really working in the field or not. And then of course the deprivation index I said about Amartya Sen. Sen also has written a lot of papers. I hope you already read those papers. It is essential also to know exactly that the development, basically we have done the MDPA, like multi-dimensional poverty index, and all the index like people, how many people are out of poverty in what year. There are certain data also done by Niti Aayog and all that. It's all based on the either Sen or Tendulkar approach. So if you consider that, we have already highlighted the inequality, redistribution of resources and poverty. Because these three are the important problems in India, right? Whether it's Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, everywhere. So unless until you address these things, poverty, inequality and redistribution resources, so the overall idea of SDG by 2030 is, I think, is $1 billion question. So my suggestion would be you please revisit all this.
Yes, sure, sir.
And try to develop into a very good paper.
Sure, sir.
So the ideas are very nice.
Thanks for feedback. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Saurya, and good morning, Dr. Parth Naskar. The session has already started, and we have already seen two of the presentations. So right now, going by the sequence that has been provided to me, Dr. Parth, are you ready with your presentation? With your presentation? Or
Saurya?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Good morning. So,
Good morning.
are you ready with your presentation?
I am ready.
Okay. So you can start.
Okay, so Dr. Saurya sir.
Okay, should I start?
Yes, then make your slide visible to us, and then you can start.
Should I start?
Yeah, start. We are just a few things. Kindly stick to 10 minutes deadline and timeline, and accordingly after 10 minutes, question answer feedback session would be there. So this is what we are actually doing, because there are other participants also in the queue. So we like to stick to
Should I
that.
present my slide?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
My slide is visible.
Yes, we can see. Go to
Morning.
full, yeah, go to
Morning
full,
organizers.
full screen
Thank you
mode.
very much
Okay, fine.
for giving me the opportunity to present our case study on the wetland degradation and livelihood challenges of the fishermen community, evidence from Kabartal wetland, Begusarai, Bihar. So this is a paper produced from a dissertation guided by me, and dissertation has been done by Mr. Pratyush Bharadwaj, but he was not present today, so I am presenting this paper. So Kabartal wetland is the biggest oxbow lake in Asia, and it is important for the harbors of diverse biodiversity, and it is also important for multiple purpose livelihood like fishing, irrigation, collection of the fodder, etc. Different types of products. In 1989, it was declared as a wildlife sanctuary, and in 2020, it was declared as a Ramsar site. Ramsar means it's a wetland of international importance. Now, the land right is not settled there because there are a lot of land issues which have been mentioned by Kalpana Ambas in her study in 2007, and due to that there is a land right problem. Now there has been different studies who has mentioned that the encroachment of the wetland is going on, and the wetland has been encroached for the agricultural purposes. So Wetland International South Asia in 2016 and another researcher in 2023 also mentioned that the wetland has been encroached very much by the agriculture purposes. Now due to that, the traditional fishermen are at the margin, and they have been lost their livelihood, and they have started migrated. So that has been reported in 2016. But there has been no report since then till now that what is the status of the livelihood of the traditional fishermen now. So this study has been done to identify the impact of the wetland degradation on the livelihood of the Shahani fishing community. And second is to identify the environmental and the anthropogenic drivers of ecosystem change in Kabartal wetland, and third is to assess the present and future perception of the Shahani community on the wetland. Now,
Dr. Surya, your slides are not moving. Kindly.
okay, slides are not moving.
No. Yeah. Now we can see it.
Now,
Yeah.
now it is.
Yeah. Now it's perfect.
Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, it is going. So can you see now?
Yes. We can see the second main objectives. Please go ahead.
Okay. So now can you see the methodology section of my slide?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge of doing a study on this type of study around the Kabartal wetland was its size. The number of villages around the wetland is around 30. So we have to be thoughtful about selection of the villages. So and for a dissertation study, it was very difficult to even purposely select some of the villages because it's a densely populated area. So we have selected only one village, Kanousi village, where Miss Kalpana Ambastha studied in 2007. So we can have a comparison data. So we selected Kanousi village in the Manjhol block, and the study has two parts. One is the quantitative and inferential study, and followed by a qualitative study. So the mixed method study we have taken. So our study results suggest that there is a huge change in the livelihood of the fishermen community. We have stressed on the fishermen community, and we can see the livelihood of the fishermen community has been affected, and the most of the reasons that have been mentioned by the people, that is the decrease of the water depth, decrease of the wetland spread, decrease of the water depth and spread, and pollution of the water due to excessive use of the agrochemicals. And a lot of people are now not doing the fishery activity. That is the 46% of the households are not doing the fishery activity right now. So in the next slide we can see in 20 years ago, almost 97.06% households were involved in the fishery activity, whereas presently only 25% people, 25% households are involved in the fishery activity. And the inferential study, that is, we have used the Wilcoxon sign rank test, and the result also suggests that the rank has decreased from the past. Now we have done a household survey, and household survey results suggest that the only 47% people are hopeful about the fishery activity, and 47% people have little hope, whereas the 44% people hoping that they can bounce back, and the 9% people have given up the fishery. And when the wetland dries up, the people also living fishery, and living fishery is a way of life for them. So the problems of the Kabartal, still now we can see that a huge amount of the encroachment is going on for the agricultural purposes. The groundwater extraction is a huge amount of the groundwater extraction which is not permitted into the wildlife sanctuary, and the Ramsar site is going on. Use of huge amount of the agrochemical farming use in the farming is also going on, and siltation is one of the problem. So the way ahead. So we think that the restoration of the Kabartal wetland, community-based restoration of the wetland is one solution, and but due to one of the fact that due to the lot of fishermen are leaving the fishery activity, they are losing the custodians of the wetland as the fishermen migrate. But the promotion of the sustainable livelihood, like the traditional aquaculture, whether it's an option, so we found it's an option, but and it has also been encouraged into the Ramsar management plan. But when we have talked with the Bihar State Wetland Authority, they say that there is a land right issue still there, and there has been since it's a sanctuary area, it has been discouraged. The livelihood activity inside the sanctuary has been discouraged. So we cannot say that through this study we have completely demystified the land rights and the conservation issues that are going on in the Kabartal wetland. So we have also interviewed some of the reporters there. They say that the land there was actually belonged to the farmers, and without their consent, the sanctuary has been declared, and so they are not willing to give up their right. So we think that a bigger study has to be done on the land rights of the Kabartal. Otherwise, there will be the Kabartal will degrade furthermore, and it will vanish in the future. So promotion of the alternative livelihood, so decrease the dependence on the wetland is another option, and awareness for the sustainable practices is one option. So what we have done among these 30 villages, we have identified and demystified the issues of one village. So a bigger study is needed to identify the issues, and also we have to know the farmer's perspective in this case. So thank you very much. So any question is there, I am ready to answer.
Thank you, Dr. Shadia. Yeah, question, Apati?
Thank you very much for this wonderful walk on wetland degradation and livelihood challenges, fishermen. What I'm going to suggest you is that basically here, of course, you have already admitted that the sample size is very less to come up with some kind of conclusion and findings, because these challenges are huge. And when you consider a sample village based on the strategy that you use, it's actually you have to revisit that because you have selected some 60 odd samples, and of course you have said that the purposefully. What is that purpose is actually I have not mentioned in the study. And then number two is basically whether the principle of exclusion is still applied to that particular area, encroachment area or not. You have to revisit the theories of public finance, basically exclusion and non-exclusion policies, and why these fishermen are not allowed inside that particular area to catch fishes. And number three is basically I'm going to suggest you that when you are doing this type of study, it is better to see a hypothetical scenario and saying that whether the fishermen are really interested for a better environment compared to what they are right now. Because we are looking at the environmental degradation, so we can have a two type of scenario. Scenario one with the environment degraded already, and you give them a hypothetical scenario for a better improvement. Then you have to see that whether you are really willing to kind of come up with this assured basically we call conserve biodiversity. So the biodiversity conservation is a very basic questions here when we are looking at the wetland sanctuaries and all that. And next is, of course, by doing that, you have to come up with some kind of methodologies. Like you have to ask all the stakeholders, not about fishermen. You have already admitted that the farmers are also an important part of stakeholder, and also you have to consider those, kind of some kind of teeny businesses, the person who is to do business in those sanctuaries areas, and of course the authorities who are actually dealing with these sanctuaries. Development authorities, I'm calling them as the development authorities. And of course, the tourists also plays another stakeholder. So the tourist perspective also can be considered. By doing all that, again you have to come up with important, kind of theory, like either you can go for a reveal preference approach or maybe like a contingent valuation approach. Then you think about a better environmental scenario where you can conserve the biodiversity in those Kavartal wetland Begusara. So these are my suggestions.
Yes.
Thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you that your paper, since I have written also paper on this area, wetland that Ramsar sanctuary that has been established by the government of India on the agreement of 1971 agreement of Ramsar, that was a town in Iran, and still that government of India has started recognizing certain lakes, certain wetlands on this. So this is a subject of biodiversity, and really it's very, very important. And the government of Bihar, that Kavartal is here the biggest one in Bihar. Although 3 lakhs wetland has been recognized under Ramsar, but there is no political consciousness or political activism in this area. Along with that, there is a lack of consciousness among the people also, the stakeholder around that. Now there is encroachment problem, that is one problem. That there are silt also, that is not a deep one. And there are a lot of flora and fauna is being wasted. Fishermen, that issue that you have raised, only one issue, that is not the only one issue. Other issues are there, like cultivation issues, water resources issues, that in the dry season that can be a very good store of the water, and that can help in irrigation. And of course, sir has told about the tourism. That is the most important one, that the state of Bihar, despite a lot of resources for tourism, is starving. So these are the things. And one thing that I would like to say, draw the attention, that Jal Jeevan Haryali Yojana of government of the Bihar is not looking into this area also. Not only the wetlands, rather the dams also. Silt is there, and so many dams are capable of tourist attraction. So I think that these issues, as really sir said, that empirical data is required, and comparative one, that you have to compare with the other countries where the wetlands have been developed, what actions have been taken. So if you make it that, it will be a marvelous contribution, and it will really knock the mind of the government also, because government has to be knocked down through paper writing, through press, all these things, sir. So thanks for this nice paper. Thank you.
As I mentioned, it's a part of a master degree dissertation study, so the scale is very small. So I am trying to do a bigger project on the Kabartal wetland and Kabartal wetland. So for a single agency also studying the whole, it is a difficult. So I am looking for the partner with whom I can work with the Kabartal wetland for a bigger, more number of villages, more number of stakeholders, more number of issues. So thank you very much. And so sorry, I think I have been asked one question regarding the sample size selection. In the Kanausi village, we have found 680 number of Sahani households, Sahani fishermen households. So we have selected 10% of the Sahani household through stratified random sampling method. From each and every hamlet we have selected according to their proportion, and then in the next step we have selected 12 households based on the initial analysis, and that was for the purpose is to elicit the highest number of diversification. Some of the fishermen who did not leave the fishing, some of the households who have left the fishing, some of the households who are considering to leave the fishing. So according to that, we have selected 12 households for the in-depth study. So it's a mixed method study.
Okay, thank you. One question from my side, that what the differences could you find with because that is a comparison that you wanted to make, and you have chosen the same locality, same village perhaps. So the earlier study, which was your reference point, so any difference which you could find? Because in the same area.
Sorry, so you mean that Kalpana Ambasta study in the Kanausi village? So she has mentioned that in 2007, around 2007, she has studied, and people used to harvest a huge amount of different types of aquatic product like fish, aquatic plants, and that has been reduced a lot. So
okay.
that is there.
The kind of degradation, or you say loss of interest and diversion of interest can be clearly seen in that particular area, especially with that Mulla community which was your sample.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Soria. Our next presenter, Dr. Parth Naskar. So we will be playing the slide. Dr. Parth, can you make yourself visible to us? The slide we are going to play.
It's a great opportunity to present our papers on sustainable livelihood strategies.
Yeah.
So we are 3 in the group, and I'm in the government department, in the Department of Backward Class Welfare, in the post of General Manager Accounts, and my team members are Vicky Digger, the Assistant Professor in Midnapur College, along with the scholar Bitu Kundu. Basically, Bitu was assigned to do the presentation, but due to some family issues, I am presenting on behalf of my team. So basically, livelihood studies for the sustainable communities is focused for living with happy and the sustainable note, because in today's scenario, living and livelihood is a complex and most pertinent issue in day-to-day living. And since my department is working on the backward class welfare communities, specifically for the SC, ST, OBC and other marginalized population, providing loans and other training programs, arranging schemes, providing subsidies and other beneficial schemes for the lower populations. So I basically attempted to do a study on these sustainable measures of the marginalized and vulnerable communities. For that, we have focused on sustainable livelihood studies.
Next slide.
Next. So in today's scenario, textile livelihood or living with textile sector is most upcoming, because textile is an age-old tradition of our country, and through times textile has evolved and developed with times. So getting sustainability with better living and with inclusive strategies textile acts as a bridgeway, as a limelight, and as a paving stone in in the sustainable group. So we have focused apparel and textile working study for the vulnerable communities for getting a better living. Next. So basically our study is focused on the broad aspects of sustainable living and sustainable livelihood, focusing on social capital, because until and unless social capital and social intellectual property is developed, we can't grow. So social capital is the most foremost arena in the sustainable development, and accordingly the resilient force of the community acting as a bridgeway between sustainability and resilience need to be discovered. So we have discovered on that arena also the HRD practices, the human resource aspects, the training, the development, the motivation, the skill, the expertise, and the intention and interest. All these are very much aligned with the sustainable development. So we have taken into consideration the HR aspects of the sustainable communities, and obviously the livelihood programs which are designed for the sustainable development, the livelihood programs, the training programs, the promotional programs, the skill development programs, the linked and avenue-based programs. All these programs paves a futuristic pathway for sustainable living. And finally, the local development and local scenario and the local promotion of the communities is very much linked with the sustainable development. Next slide, please. So what is the basic need of the study and what is the basic justification of the study? Because in today's digitalized environment, digitally we are all progressing, so we need a community, we need a resilient community which has a digitalized focus in this digitalized age. Along with that, the livelihood avenues and the living proponents, along with the employment opportunities and employment adaptations for the lower section of the community and the backward section of the people, empowering the social capital of the underprivileged and promoting inclusive growth for all the disadvantaged community neighborhoods. Next. So we have broadly focused on the two prime aspects of sustainable development strategies. We want to determine, and we have attempted to determine, what are the opportunities in apparel occupation practices, what are the avenues, what are the doors, what are the possibilities of getting sustainable livelihood, and finally, what are the key arenas, what are the key sectors through which sustainable livelihood strategies for the local communities can be determined. Next. So we have studied sustainable. Since we are in the corporation, basically I have my office and my organization has helped me a lot in collecting data, because since I am working throughout the state, so I have, just for getting better data and getting the in-depth study, I am based in Kolkata, so I have taken two districts of nearby Kolkata, one South 24 Parganas, the most sustainable and marginal as the South 24 Parganas, along with that the North 24 Parganas, and we have surveyed around 354 respondents belonging to vulnerable groups according to the demographics, and we have conducted also face-to-face interviews along with the convenience method of sampling through structured questionnaire and face-to-face instructions, and basically analysis on the descriptive and qualitative thematic analysis. Next. The major outcome of the study comes around like that basically it's a male-dominated study. Most of the male members of the study are contributing the textile occupation. Also female population is also contributing and taking part. And basically the young group of the population belonging to 20 to 29 age group of the respondents are the active workforce, along with the education, with the basic secondary education they are possessing, and mostly inclined to the government and tailoring projected roles in their livelihood study. Next. So the study broadly focuses on mixed method approach, and the reliability results comes to around 0.90, which is quite excellent in the internal consistency and descriptive statistics, means scores, correlations and regressions all align with the positive correlations and top predictions between motivation as a social capital along with the well-being and job-being programs projected in the results outcome. Next. Basically, the limitations of the study on this textile livelihood depends on the upgradation of the day-to-day living, because in today's scenario, with the tech-centric environment where machine operation has greatly taken place, so proper training of modern technologies, tools and equipments need to be taken care of, along with the limited awareness of the recent trends about the sustainable group and the vulnerable populations creates a barrier in their sustainable living, and obviously with the unawareness and the non-knowing activities of the recent training design in the textile sector is a major constraint in the textile livelihood. So we recommended through the study that textile education is very much required for the vulnerable community for successful sustainable livelihood. Infrastructure development for the textile development workers need to be taken care of, where proper hygienic conditions, adequate hygienic facilities, drinking, electricity and resting facilities along with the proper technical know-how, collaboration with public partnership need to be increased, adhered, and obviously in small groups in local community arenas, initiatives and arrangements need to be increased for this awareness for getting the sustainable textile livelihood, and obviously through this the competitiveness of the human capital will enlarge and enhance for better living. Next. So the time has come, we have to collaborate between the tradition and technology. So this collaboration needs to be harnessed through community-based sustainable strategies and through proper government guidance, policies and program development for specifically focused for marginalized group. And we assure, and it's an humble attempt for our group to find further more avenues, further more opportunities for the sustainable livelihood, for a better balance between resilience and diversity, for giving a better livelihood for their own living. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Path. One point that who was the respondents? Were they the workers there, or say the units, the manufacturing units? You collected?
Respondents come to 54, sir.
Yeah, I understand. Who are the respondents? The
Respondents are the SC and ST community populations of residing in the districts of West Bengal, South Central Parganas and North Bengal.
Of course, these are the people who are working with the
Yes,
apparel,
they are
working with the units.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're in the government, I think so you can make some good recommendation that skill development is required, because some of the suggestions that you have given needs financing, say capital investments. So are the units, these units who run these apparel units, the owners, are they interested in making such kind of capital investment? Unless they invest.
Basically, sir, government collaborates with various training agencies to impart training for these marginalized and low-income groups to develop training programs, and they collaborate with these agencies, and these agencies on behalf of the government impart training for these groups to make them self-employed to that extent.
You provide some subsidy to these units?
Yes, they get subsidy on daily basis.
Daily
They
basis.
get conveyance allowance along with the ticket allowance for to part in this training along with the subsidy.
Still, your finding says that more of skill development training is required, no? So that is what you.
Yes.
Okay, so then of course you can have a good suggestion for your own department. This is study accordingly. Yeah, Mr. Senapati, if you want.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Naskar, on this presentation on motivating resilient community towards sustainable livelihood approach. It's a very interesting paper. You have taken sample from mostly the SC and ST communities. But again, as I said, the kind of suggestion that coming from your study has to be re-examined. Because so when you are talking about the vulnerabilities, you must also, I think, you come across United Nations Sustainable Development Framework like LBI and LEI. So you could have used this livelihood vulnerability index or livelihood effect index. These two index are most prominent index used in this sustainable livelihood framework. So if you can use them, you can say that whether they are vulnerable or not. Because that scale is basically on 0 to 1. If it is coming out 0, is basically they are highly vulnerable, and if it is close to 1, it's a least vulnerable. And similarly, in LEI index also you have different forms of capital, like social capital, physical capital, financial capital, and all these things you can do, like 5 forms of capital. Then you can, what you can do is basically you can classify or maybe like the entire sample into those forms of capital and say that the subcategories, how much they are getting, what are the values you can get from the subcategories to come with a index. So with the full index, again the 0 to 1 scale, you can say that whether the particular respondent or the sample respondent that you have selected in those communities are vulnerable in physical capital or financial capital or social capital. So those arguments could have been better. So I suggest you to use LVI and LEI index of United Nations Sustainable Development Framework. This is my suggestion on the empirical side. And regarding the theory, the theoretical aspect is very, very important, because if you see the even the IPCC approach and other approaches, they have also measured that how vulnerability can be measured in terms of risk and kind of sensitivity of a particular communities. So risk is very, very important when you are thinking about vulnerabilities, and I have already sort of highlighted 2 major index by United Nations, that is LBI and LEI index, and there again you can find out the kind of risk they face and what are the problems or the challenges they are facing. So when you do that, then you can come up with this 5 forms of capital that we already discussed. Whether the particular community is facing a physical capital issue or financial capital issue or a social capital issue. So this sustainable development framework approach of UN, it will help you in this paper, and you can develop that, and by making the LEI and LVI approach, and then you can come up with a theoretical framework using all these variables and forms of capital, so that it will be an interesting empirical paper can be published in a good journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we take up the next paper.